Welcome to Young at Heart, your trusted space for embracing vitality at every age. Today we're talking about something fundamental, the very foundation of our movement, our independence, our legs. She'd always been active, attributed the occasional stumble to a moment's carelessness, the growing ache in her knees to just, another birthday passing. Until a seemingly minor fall landed her in the emergency room, shaken and questioning. It wasn't a clumsy misstep. It was a wake-up call, and it all stemmed from a few overlooked habits, routines she, like so many of us, had unknowingly adopted. Most of us, especially as we cross that vibrant threshold of 60, aren't fully aware of how these four common patterns can subtly, yet persistently, diminish our leg strength, compromise our balance, and quietly chip away at the independence we cherish. If you're looking to keep that spring in your step for years to come, this conversation could be one of the most empowering you engage with this year. Stay with us. She didn't topple over because she tripped on an unseen obstacle. The truth, harder to accept, was that her legs, once so reliable, simply weren't swift or strong enough to catch her anymore. This wasn't a sudden failure. It was a gradual dimming of power, an unnoticed erosion. It happened incrementally, whispered in the background of daily life. Each morning, the invitation for a brief stroll was declined with a sigh. Each week, the narrative was, "I'm just feeling my age." Each month that drifted by without consistent, purposeful movement, a little more vitality was lost. Her muscles, those faithful servants, began to recede, like a tide going out almost imperceptibly. This is perhaps the most insidious trap many vibrant older adults fall into, mistaking the early signals of muscle decline for simple tiredness, or worse, an inevitable consequence of aging. But here's the core truth. Your legs thrive on engagement. If you don't regularly invite them to participate in your day, they begin a quiet protest, a gradual shutdown. Compelling research, including studies highlighted in publications like the Archives of Physical Medicine and Rehabilitation, reveals that even a short period, say 10 to 14 days, of significantly reduced activity in older individuals can lead to noticeable muscle loss, particularly in those crucial leg muscles like the quadriceps and calves that act as our personal shock absorbers and stabilizers. And it's a cascade effect. It's not merely brute strength that fades into the background. Your innate sense of balance, your stability when you reach for something on a high shelf, your coordination when navigating a slightly uneven path, all these intricate systems begin to falter, almost silently. Imagine a finely tuned instrument, left unplayed, slowly losing its pitch. Or think of it like discovering a slow puncture in your car tire. You drive for days, maybe weeks, unaware, until one morning, it's undeniably flat. By the time your legs actively feel weak, by the time that wobble becomes a regular companion, they've already surrendered a significant measure of their inherent power. And that deficit places you squarely in the path of increased risk, for falls, for fractures that can dramatically alter your life, and for the dreaded hospital stay that steals your precious autonomy. But here's the wonderfully uplifting news. You don't need to transform into a marathon runner or a gym fanatic to reverse this trend. Movement, to be effective, doesn't have to be grueling. In fact, simple, mindful leg activation, performed with consistency, can be incredibly potent in rebuilding what disuse has allowed to fade. We've witnessed individuals in their 70s, 80s, even 90s rediscover remarkable leg strength and confidence through nothing more demanding than daily calf raises while waiting for the kettle to boil, gentle seated leg lifts while reading, or a cherished 10-minute walk through their home or garden. It's not about adding overwhelming new burdens to your day. It's fundamentally about not surrendering to stillness. A wise geriatric specialist once shared a profound insight. We don't lose the ability to navigate our world because we grow old. We lose it because we stop asking our bodies to perform that navigation. Your body, this incredible vessel, doesn't suddenly stop responding to your requests at 60, 70, or even 90. It only ceases to respond when we cease to make those requests. And that right there is the heartbreaking core of the first common misstep, believing that more rest is always the panacea for fatigue, when in reality, it's consistent, gentle movement that fortifies you against decline. Because your legs, they are far more than mere limbs. They are your passport to freedom, your connection to the world. And every single day you choose to engage them, you're making a deposit in the bank of your continued independence. Initially, she believed the issue was purely muscular, that persistent heaviness in her thighs, the twinges in her knees, that curious, deep pressure in her lower back after a short walk. But the culprit wasn't just the muscles themselves. It was the very foundation she placed them on every single day. What you wear on your feet can, with surprising stealth, undermine your body's entire kinetic chain, from the ground up. And for those of us embracing our later years, this is a frequently underestimated contributor to weakness, instability, and persistent discomfort. Those oh-so-cozy plush slippers that feel like clouds, they might be subtly eroding your natural balance mechanisms by offering too little feedback from the ground. Those beloved old sneakers, with soles worn smooth and compressed from years of faithful service, they're likely altering your foot strike and throwing your body's alignment subtly out of kilter with every step. And those flat, flimsy sandals or inexpensive indoor slip-ons, they often compel your muscles into a state of constant, low-level compensation, working overtime to provide the support the shoe lacks, until one day, your legs simply signal, enough. A revealing study in the Journal of the American Geriatric Society pointed out that inappropriate footwear is a significant contributing factor in a large percentage of falls, leading to injury among older adults. That's not merely a data point. It's a clear signal, a gentle warning. Because your shoes are more than just a fashion statement or a comfort item. They are your direct interface with the earth. And if that interface is wobbly, ill-fitting, or unsupportive, every joint and muscle group above it, your ankles, your knees, your hips, even your spine, feels the ripple effect and is forced to adapt. Wearing footwear that doesn't respect your foot's natural mechanics gradually alters how you walk. It changes the angle of your footfall, the way your leg absorbs the impact of each step, and how your posture reflexively adjusts to maintain an upright stance. Over time, your muscles can adapt to this persistent imbalance by paradoxically weakening in some areas and overworking in others. Your joints compensate for the skewed forces by undergoing premature wear and tear. And your nerves, the communication lines for proprioception, your body's remarkable ability to sense its position in space, can become confused by the unreliable input. This is why so many seniors express genuine surprise after a fall, saying, "I just didn't see it coming." Often, it's because they didn't feel the subtle, progressive instability that preceded it. The solution, thankfully, doesn't always lie in expensive, custom-made orthotics or the trendiest athletic shoes. It begins with heightened awareness. Choosing shoes that securely cradle your heel, provide discernible arch support, and possess a sole that doesn't easily compress or buckle under your weight can utterly transform your experience of moving. Here's a practical tip often shared by seasoned physiotherapists. If you can easily bend your shoe in half from toe to heel or twist it like a dishcloth with minimal effort, it's likely not providing the structural integrity your feet, and by extension your legs, truly need. Your feet crave stable support, not just pillowy softness. They require reliable structure, not just yielding fluff. Imagine commissioning a beautiful house only to have it built on a shaky, crumbling foundation. That's a potent analogy for navigating life in worn-out or ill-suited footwear. Sooner or later, the entire structure above bears the cost. So, the next time your legs feel unusually tired or your balance seems a bit off, don't just attribute it to the date on the calendar. Take a moment. Look down. Your most accessible solution might just be waiting in your closet. She'd initially sit down just for a brief respite, but then a few minutes would stretch into an hour, the hour into 2, then perhaps 3. Before she consciously registered it, entire afternoons would vanish, one deeply sunk cushion, one slightly slouched posture at a time. And here's the truly deceptive part. In her mind, she was still resting, recuperating. But her body? It was interpreting this prolonged inactivity as a signal to power down. Extended periods of sitting, uninterrupted by movement, are one of the most underestimated hazards for seniors. And it's a habit so ingrained, most of us don't give it a second thought. We sit to share meals. We sit to enjoy our favorite television programs. We sit to delve into a good book, to relax, to chat on the phone, to wait patiently at the doctor's clinic. But with each hour that passes, while you remain seated without a deliberate break for movement, your muscles are being subtly underutilized. Your blood flow becomes a little more sluggish, and your bones, which thrive on weight-bearing activity, can grow progressively more fragile. Research published in journals focusing on aging and activity clearly demonstrates that older adults who stay seated for 6 or more hours daily often exhibit significantly diminished lower limb strength and poorer balance scores compared to their peers who regularly interrupt their sitting time, even with just brief spurts of light movement. And that's at 6 hours. Many seniors, without realizing it, can easily exceed that. When you remain seated for too long, a few things happen internally. Your hip flexor muscles can tighten and shorten, while your powerful gluteal muscles, key for stability and power, tend to switch off or become less responsive. Your circulation, especially in the lower legs, can slow considerably, sometimes leading to that familiar sensation of pooling fluids, resulting in swollen ankles and a feeling of pressure, particularly by evening. Even your nervous system adapts to this state of stillness, gradually reducing the frequency and intensity of signals sent to your lower limbs. The cumulative result? You might stand up a bit too quickly after a long period of sitting, and suddenly your legs feel unprepared, wobbly, as if they've momentarily forgotten their job. Ever experienced that brief spell of dizziness? That unsteady sensation after rising from your chair? That's not just an inevitable quirk of getting older. That's often the direct physiological consequence of prolonged immobility. Your body wasn't engineered to be parked like a car for hours on end. It was designed for dynamic engagement, to move, shift, flex, extend, and constantly make micro-adjustments to maintain balance, even in seemingly small ways. But here comes the empowering part. You don't need an elaborate, time-consuming fitness regimen to counteract this. What you need are interruptions. Little movement snacks throughout your day. Aim to stand up every 30 to 45 minutes. March gently in place while the kettle boils. Roll your ankles and flex your knees during a commercial break. Take a short walk to another room, even if it's just to look out a different window. The goal here isn't about torching calories or endurance training. It's about sending regular, gentle reminders to your legs that they are still very much on active duty, essential and needed. A renowned gerontologist once powerfully stated, "If prolonged sitting is the new smoking, then sustained stillness is the new silent saboteur of vitality." And that perfectly encapsulates our third common mistake. It's a quiet thief of strength, a subtle eroder of stability, and a gradual underminer of self-reliance. Don't allow your favorite armchair to become a gilded cage. By all means, use it and enjoy it, but consciously choose not to live exclusively in it. Because every single time you make the choice to stand, you dispatch a vital, life-affirming message to your muscles. I'm still in the game, and I'm not ready to sit on the sidelines. The subtle warnings had been there, like quiet knocks on a door. Those restless nights, occasionally disturbed by sudden leg cramps. The dull, persistent ache that would often creep into her calves or shins as evening approached. The way her shoes, once comfortable, sometimes felt a little too snug by the end of the day. But like so many of us, she'd often brush these signals aside. It's just part of the journey of aging, she'd tell herself, until that one day, her legs seemed to falter without any immediate obvious cause. Here's a vital piece of wisdom that many seniors don't hear emphasized nearly enough. Your legs are constantly communicating with you. But over time, we can become conditioned to either ignore their messages or misinterpret them. Those nocturnal cramps aren't just an inconvenient nuisance. They are often a clear signal from your muscles or your circulatory system. That swelling in your ankles or lower legs isn't always just a result of being on your feet for a long time. It can be an indication that your circulation is facing challenges. That intermittent tingling or numbness, that's often your nerves sending out an SOS requesting attention. Even something as seemingly minor as increased stiffness first thing in the morning, or a feeling of unusual heaviness in your legs after a routine walk. These sensations are not nothing. They are your body's early warning system, whispering, "Please, pay attention. Help me address this before it becomes a shout." The Gerontological Society of America often highlights that a significant majority of adults over 65 experience some form of lower limb warning symptoms, be it numbness, persistent tightness, or episodes of weakness. Yet, astonishingly, fewer than a third typically discuss these symptoms with their healthcare provider, unless or until a fall occurs. Why this disconnect? Often, it's because we inadvertently normalize the decline. We collectively label these experiences as just a natural part of getting older. But increasing weakness is not an inevitable destination. It's a symptom, a narrative unfolding, a system signaling that it's under strain. Slowly, perhaps, but rarely completely silently. Ignoring these vital signs doesn't make them vanish. It typically allows them to become more pronounced, more persistent, and potentially more perilous. That slight, almost imperceptible wobble you notice on the stairs today could, if unaddressed, become tomorrow's frightening tumble. That occasional nightly cramp, if the underlying cause isn't explored, could escalate into a debilitating full-leg spasm next week. That fleeting pins and needles sensation in your foot could, over time, progress to a nerve that no longer communicates effectively, leaving you without that crucial sensory warning if you were to misstep or lose your footing. But here lies a profoundly hopeful truth. Your body is inherently on your side. It doesn't usually surrender without first attempting to communicate, to signal that it needs support. That discomfort or pain you might be feeling, it's not your adversary. It's more accurately an invitation to listen, to investigate, and to intervene proactively. And intervention doesn't always necessitate immediate recourse to medication or surgical procedures. It can begin with something as simple and profound as mindful touch, with the soothing application of beneficial oils, with gentle, targeted movements designed to improve flexibility and circulation. With the simple act of elevating your legs for 10 to 15 minutes before you settle down for the night. It begins with listening, truly, deeply listening to what your legs are endeavoring to tell you. A leading geriatric physiotherapist often emphasizes, the earlier you learn to recognize and respond to these early warning signs, the greater your capacity to preserve your independence and mobility for longer. And that, ultimately, is the shared goal. Not just to keep moving, but to move with confidence, with assurance, to become adept at catching these signals when they are mere whispers, long before they escalate into desperate screams, to cultivate a relationship with your legs where they feel not like a burden to be managed, but like your most steadfast and powerful support system. Because your legs are not just anatomical structures, they are an integral part of your life's narrative. And you, undoubtedly, still have many vibrant chapters left to write. You've heard about these common missteps, but what if I told you there's a gentle yet powerful way to begin to counteract this accumulated neglect, to start undoing some of the silent damage in as little as 7 days? Not with a complex regimen of medications, not with exhausting joint-jarring workouts, but with a simple, nurturing daily 10-minute ritual that helps you reconnect with the incredible inherent strength and resilience of your body, especially your legs. It begins the very moment you awaken, even before your feet touch the floor. While still lying comfortably in bed, gently begin to roll your ankles, first clockwise, then counterclockwise. Flex your feet, pointing your toes up towards your head, then gently point them away. Feel that gentle stretch. Remind your body, from its very first waking moments, that it's alive, that it's ready for the day. That initial signal, that first mindful stretch, it's like flipping a switch, encouraging circulation to begin its vital flow. Then, perhaps mid-morning, when you might typically take a coffee or tea break, integrate your movement snack. Stand up and march gently in place for just 1 minute, lifting your knees comfortably. Or, while waiting for the kettle to boil or the microwave to finish, do a few simple heel raises at the kitchen counter, rising up onto the balls of your feet, then slowly lowering. Remember, you're not training for an Olympic event. You are simply lovingly reminding your legs that their strength and stability are still very much in demand. After your midday meal or your usual afternoon period of rest, take 10 minutes to elevate your feet. Simply lie down on your sofa or bed and place a comfortable pillow or two under your ankles, so your feet are slightly higher than your heart. Close your eyes. Take a few slow, deep breaths. This isn't an indulgence in laziness. It's an act of intelligent recovery, helping to reduce any swelling and assist venous return. And then, before you settle in for the night, embrace the power of touch. Take 5 minutes for a gentle massage. Use a natural oil, perhaps lavender for its calming properties, or even a light olive oil. Warm a small amount in your hands and gently massage one leg, then the other, using smooth upward strokes from your ankles towards your knees, then your thighs. Pay attention to the sensation, the warmth of your own touch. You're not just applying oil, you're sending a profound, deeply felt message to your body. I remember you. I value you. I am here to care for you. You still matter immensely. Commit to this simple, nurturing ritual for just 7 consecutive days, and you will likely begin to feel something that many seniors, unfortunately, start to forget is even possible. A renewed sense of lightness in your step, a subtle return of underlying strength, a growing feeling of confidence in your body's abilities. The rhythm of intentionally caring for your legs in this way can transform into a cherished daily ritual, And rituals, when practiced consistently and with mindful presence, possess an incredible power, because rituals, embraced with intention, often become the bedrock of profound and lasting transformation. Your legs are so much more than just the limbs that carry you from one place to another. They are your roots, anchoring you to the earth. They are your foundational support, the pillars of your physical being. They have faithfully carried you through countless decades of life, through seasons of sunshine and storms, through moments of immense joy and periods of challenging pain. They've steadfastly supported you even when everything else around you might have felt like it was shifting or falling apart. And yet, all too often, we treat them almost as an afterthought. We talk about nurturing our hearts, protecting our brains, but we sometimes neglect the very structures that empower us to stand tall, to engage with, and to navigate our world with confidence. That pattern can end right now, because within your legs lies a largely untapped, often even as you journey through your 60s, 70s, 80s, and beyond. Your legs possess an astounding capacity for renewal. Muscle fibers, with the right encouragement, can indeed rebuild. Your sense of balance can be re-educated and sharpened. That quiet confidence in your body's ability to support you can absolutely reawaken. This isn't just wishful thinking or motivational hype. This is grounded in sound physiology. Prominent research institutions worldwide have conducted studies demonstrating that even seniors, well into their 80s and 90s, who engage in regular, mild leg strengthening and balance routines, can see truly significant improvements in their coordination, their stability, their ability to perform daily tasks, and even their overall mental well-being and mood. It is not too late. It is, quite frankly, never too late. Your legs are patiently waiting. All they truly require is your consistent, mindful attention and your belief in their capacity to respond. You might be thinking, but I've let this go for so long. Surely my legs are too far gone now. Please, let that thought go. Because true healing, genuine recovery, doesn't usually happen in one grand, dramatic gesture. It unfolds in whispers, in small, incremental wins. It's felt in that first moment you stand up from your chair without that familiar wobble. It's celebrated in the first time you walk confidently across the room without instinctively reaching for the back of a chair for support. It's cherished in that first uninterrupted night of sleep, free from those disruptive leg cramps. Your comeback, your journey to renewed strength, doesn't need to be spectacular or headline-grabbing. It simply needs to begin. Every time you consciously choose to gently massage your legs, you are, in a sense, rewriting an old narrative of neglect into a new story of care. Every time you mindfully stretch or take a few purposeful steps, you are sending a clear message to your body that it is not forgotten, that its well-being matters. You are gently re-educating your nervous system to fire more efficiently, inviting your muscles to awaken from their slumber, encouraging your circulation to flow more freely. And the most beautiful aspect of this entire process, your body wants this. It is primed and ready, waiting for your partnership. It's not asking for perfection, just for your presence, your gentle persistence. You don't have to run a marathon. You simply have to choose to rise, in every sense of the word. So now you understand. The missteps that can weaken your legs aren't solely about the number of candles on your birthday cake. They are far more often about patterns of unintentional neglect, moments of inattention, and perhaps simply forgetting to cherish and support the very part of you that has carried the weight of your entire life, silently, faithfully, and usually without complaint. But here's the part of the story we often overlook, the part that brims with hope. Your legs have never truly given up on you. Not when you sat for too long. not when you tried to ignore the discomfort, not even when you began to doubt their ability to support you reliably. They've been patiently waiting for you to notice again. To remember that movement is not just a chore, but your birthright, a gift. To recall that your freedom, your ability to engage with life on your own terms, truly resides in the health and vitality of the muscles in your thighs and calves, in the flexibility of the joints in your knees and ankles, in the sensitive soles of your feet that connect you to the earth. And here's what might surprise you the most. They don't demand perfection. They crave your presence. They respond beautifully to just 5 or 10 minutes of mindful attention each day. A gentle touch, a conscious movement, a clear message from your brain to your limbs that says, I haven't forgotten you. I value you. We're in this together. Because this journey isn't just about avoiding a fall, as crucial as that is. It's about reclaiming something far deeper, far more resonant. Your independence to come and go as you please. Your confidence to navigate your world without constant fear. Your quiet, indomitable inner strength. Do you remember what it felt like to walk with a sense of carefree ease? To stand up from a chair and not have to second-guess your balance? Perhaps to dance, to work in your garden. You effortlessly chase after the simple joys and activities that make you feel truly, vibrantly alive. That feeling, that capacity, isn't gone forever. It may have just been buried beneath layers of hesitation, past discomfort, and an unintended silence between you and your body. But it's still there, waiting. And it only takes one conscious decision, one small step, to begin gently uncovering it. So, here is your invitation, your moment. Not next week when things might feel a bit better. Not when the pain perhaps gets a little worse. But now, today. Maybe today, your first step is to simply stretch your ankles while you read this. Maybe later, you'll find a little bottle of lavender or rosemary oil and gently, lovingly touch your legs. Not as if they are a problem to be fixed, but as if they are cherished allies that truly matter. Maybe you'll stand up and take 10 slow, mindful steps across your room, not as a form of strenuous exercise, but simply to remember the feeling of movement, of being grounded and upright. Because when you choose to actively care for your legs, you are making a profound choice to care for your future, your continued autonomy, your whole body well-being, and yes, your inherent dignity. This isn't just the end of a video. Consider this the beginning of a quiet, powerful revolution within you. A revolution of renewed connection, of rediscovered strength, of reclaimed joy in movement. And when that moment arrives, as it surely will if you persist with gentleness and consistency, when you finally rise from your chair, or walk down the street, or dance in your kitchen without that old shadow of fear, you'll realize something incredibly powerful. You didn't just strengthen your legs. You stood up for your life, for your vitality, for the vibrant future that is still yours to embrace. Thank you for joining us on Young at Heart. Until next time, move with joy and live with heart.